Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a crucial part of American history that has profound implications for our understanding of wealth, labor, and justice, even in today's economy. We're talking about Juneteenth, a day that marks a pivotal moment in our nation's journey toward true freedom and has surprisingly deep connections to the very foundations of American finance. So let's get into it. 160 years ago, on June 19th, 1865, a transformative event unfolded in Galveston, Texas. This was the day Union troops arrived to inform the last enslaved people in the Confederacy that they were finally free. Now, you might be thinking, didn't President Lincoln issue the Emancipation Proclamation much earlier? And you'd be right. That proclamation was signed on January 1st, 1863, 2.5 years before the news reached Galveston. The crucial detail is that the Emancipation Proclamation was a military edict, and it could only be enforced where Union soldiers had control. Texas was a remote area, and many enslavers from other states even relocated there, bringing more enslaved people with them precisely to avoid the proclamation's enforcement. It also happened 2 months after Confederate General Robert E. Lee had already surrendered, effectively ending the Civil War. This significant delay underscores a powerful lesson. Laws promising freedom don't always translate into actual freedom without persistent enforcement and accountability. The holiday's name, Juneteenth, simply combines June and 19. For generations, it has been celebrated by Black Americans as their true Independence Day, often referred to as Freedom Day, Emancipation Day, Black 4th of July, or even a second Independence Day. This is because the 4th of July in 1776, while celebrating liberty for many, notoriously did not include enslaved Black people. The journey to Juneteenth becoming a federally recognized holiday in 2021 was a long one, rooted in over 150 years of grassroots celebration within Black communities. Texas was the first state to make it a state holiday in 1979. The national movement gained significant traction in 2020, following the murder of George Floyd and the subsequent Black Lives Matter protests, which brought a renewed focus on the legacy of racism in the United States. A key figure in this movement was Opal Lee, the 98-year-old activist known as the grandmother of Juneteenth, who tirelessly advocated for federal recognition, collecting over 1.6 million signatures on her petition. President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act into law in 2021, expanding its recognition across all 50 states. Juneteenth is a day of profound significance, encapsulating a both-andedness. It's a moment to mourn the terrible fact that freedom was withheld from hundreds of thousands of enslaved people for years, while simultaneously celebrating the end of one of the most egregious acts in American history. It's not just Black history, it is in fact American history, foundational to our country's social, political, and economic order. Slavery, which lasted for 246 years, 12 generations, even predated the country itself. The wealth it generated through the unpaid labor of millions was immense, akin to the tech stocks of the 17th century as a way to get rich quickly. This history is surprisingly close. As recently as 2016, the daughter of an enslaved person was present at the opening of the National Museum of African American History and Culture. So how do Americans celebrate Juneteenth today? It truly depends on what you want it to be. It can be a solemn day of remembrance or a joyous celebration. Traditionally, festivities are rooted in cookouts and picnics, offering a chance for large, boisterous family reunions among formerly enslaved people who had been separated. These outdoor gatherings were revolutionary because they offered a space free from the restrictive Black codes enforced in Confederate states. Many choose to treat Juneteenth as a day of rest and reflection, engaging in community service, attending educational panels, or simply taking off work. Across the country, you'll find a plethora of public events, from carnival-like festivals with food trucks, arts and crafts, and parades, to concerts, fashion shows, and informative panels about Juneteenth's history. Many of these events also offer valuable community resources, including information on healthcare and finance. For example, the National Park Service offers free entry to all its sites on the holiday. When it comes to visual symbols, two flags are prominent. The red, black, and green African Liberation Flag, also known as the Pan-African flag, symbolizes the bloodshed and sacrifice of enslaved ancestors, red, Black people, black, and the richness of Africa, green. More recently, the Juneteenth flag, created in 1997, has gained popularity. Its red, white, and blue colors, like the American flag, signify that those freed are also Americans. The white star in the center pays tribute to Texas as Juneteenth's birthplace, encircled by another starry line representing the spreading of freedom. Food also plays a significant role, with the color red being a through line for generations, symbolizing the bloodshed and sacrifice of ancestors. A traditional Juneteenth menu often includes barbecued ribs or other red meat, watermelon, and red velvet cake. Red drinks like fruit punch and red Kool-Aid are also common at the table. In recent years, Juneteenth has seen increased commercialization, with national chains selling related merchandise. However, this year, some companies have scaled back their offerings. This presents an opportunity for consumers to intentionally support African American vendors and businesses when purchasing Juneteenth items, directing your spending to empower communities. A common question is whether you can celebrate Juneteenth if you're not Black. Dr. Karita Brown, a sociology professor at Emory University, emphatically states that it is absolutely part of all Americans' history and experience. It's a story of emancipation and freedom under the Constitution that belongs to everyone. It's perfectly fine and even encouraged to embrace it. As for greetings, a simple Happy Juneteenth or Happy Teenth is perfectly typical. This year, Juneteenth celebrations are taking place against a complex backdrop, with political shifts that have seen bans on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in the federal government, and attempts to remove Black American history content from federal websites. Many might wonder if their companies will even honor the holiday. However, leaders like Mark Morial of the National Urban League emphasize that no one should feel intimidated or obligated not to celebrate. It's crucial to remember that Juneteenth is more than just a federal holiday. It's a deeply rooted tradition that communities have celebrated for well over a century. The significance of Juneteenth extends into economic justice. Slavery, at its core, was a system of state-sanctioned violence that allowed for the complete extraction of human freedom and labor. The enslaved built immense wealth for this nation, yet they received nothing. Juneteenth reminds us that economic justice is a civil right. It prompts us to reflect on how our nation's economic infrastructure was built on this foundation, and how historical injustices continue to impact contemporary inequalities. Celebrating Juneteenth can be an act of resistance against efforts to erase or deny racial progress. As Dr. K. Wise Whitehead, president of the Association for the Study of African American History, points out, she encourages small daily acts of resistance, such as supporting Black-owned businesses, making informed economic choices, and continuing to tell the full story of American history. Beyond the national recognition, it's important to understand that Juneteenth is the most widely known, but not the only emancipation celebration in the United States. States like New York, Ohio, Mississippi, and Florida have their own emancipation days, marking when news of freedom reached their specific communities. These local celebrations, often filled with music, food, and dancing, serve as vital homecomings and opportunities for education and community fortification. This shows the tenacity of Black communities who, even when denied public spaces due to segregation, pooled resources to buy emancipation grounds for their gatherings. Juneteenth is not in competition with the 4th of July. Instead, consider it as a freedom birthday for the formerly enslaved, complementing the 4th of July as the country's freedom birthday. It's about creating a more complete understanding of American history, a story that, as Sam Collins, often called Juneteenth professor, describes, is like a salad, richer and more flavorful with every ingredient and perspective added. Ultimately, Juneteenth offers us a chance for radical imagination. It allows us to envision a future where freedom, equality, and opportunity are truly realized for all, built upon a truthful understanding of our past. It's about reflecting on how far we've come and acknowledging the work that still needs to be done to ensure everyone can fully participate in the American project. Thank you for tuning in and for taking the time to understand this vital part of our shared American history. We hope this has given you some valuable perspective. If you found this insightful, please hit that like button, subscribe for more content like this, and share it with someone who might benefit from hearing this message. See you next time.